So, is your chest voice too loud? And you feel that your head voice or your falsetto is too soft relative to your chest voice? If that's you, keep watching. So today, I'm going to talk about why is it that for some of us, our chest voice, it sounds too loud, and our head voice and falsetto, it sounds too weak and too soft. Because we know a lot of the times, especially if you're singing pop songs, or it could be any other genre as well, if you're switching between head voice and mixed voice, or your chest voice, put simply, if you're switching between so-called registers, you might notice that maybe your head voice is too light. So when you switch back to your chest voice, the contrast is bigger than you like it to be. Because we have heard some singers, they are able to transition smoothly, but maybe for you, you feel like when you're transitioning, there's a big break in between, and it feels like your high notes, they're in the sky, right? And your lower notes, they're on the floor. It's like they're worlds apart. But if you listen to a lot of great singers, when they are switching, if it feels like head voice is here, chest voice is here, the contrast is not so big. So as a result, when they switch, it sounds smoother to our ears, and therefore it sounds nicer as well, and that is what we want to try to achieve. So today I'm going to tell you the real reason why there's such a big contrast between your head voice and your chest voice, and what you need to do today to solve it. So let's begin. Now, why does that happen? It happens for one simple reason, and that is you are switching between placements. So your low, stubborn and heavy chest voice, it favors your chest voice, but it doesn't favor your falsetto or your head voice. You will feel that your head voice, it feels more natural in the high head voice placement. What do I mean? Simply just make any head voice. Where do you feel it? Chances are you don't feel it here, right? You feel it up here, high up here. You feel it high up there, and that is our head voice placement. Now, so far I've introduced to you two placements: the low, stubborn and heavy chest voice placement and the high head voice placement. And if you understand this, the high head voice placement is high up here, and your low and stubborn chest voice placement is down here. So you can see the distance between the two is so big, and that is why that contrast you have, it feels disgusting. It feels like your voice is dislocated, like it's two huge segments, and one is just heaven and then one is just earth, and there's no way there's any connection between them. Now, if we were to be able to find our complete mixed voice placement, which is another high placement, there are two high placements in total: the head voice placement and the complete mixed voice placement. There are two high placements. We are able to sing in this high complete mixed voice vocal placement. You realize that because it is a high placement and it is so close to the head voice placement, the distance is so small. If you to keep your mixed voice or your chest voice in your high complete mixed voice vocal placement, and then when you switch into a head voice, the distance between the placements is smaller, and as a result, the contrast between is smaller as well, in a sense that you can control how loud or how soft or how smooth you want the switch to be. It is not like a that is when I'm switching placement. But if I'm keeping the same high placement, and once again I try to slide up from here to here, it's very smooth. I can go fast, I can go slow, it doesn't matter, because I'm in my high placement. So even if I break, can you hear that? There's almost no break. It is not like a ooh. It's nothing like that. It's not a yodel, because when you're yodeling, actually what you're doing is you're switching between placements. Write this down and remember this: the larger the change in the sound, the more drastic, the more disgusting it sounds, the bigger is the distance between the two placements. But when the transition is smooth, it's gentle, it doesn't require much effort then it must be two placements that are very close to each other. And since you have 3 placements and only 2 placements are in the high placement, we have to keep everything in these 2 placements. And the moment you can keep your head voice and falsetto in your high head voice placement, and then you keep your mixed voice or your chest voice, which if you have been following me long enough, you have known that I don't believe in chest voice. I only believe in a mixed voice throughout our entire vocal range, because like I said, I believe that chest voice should be called a low mixed voice, because even when we are singing in the right high complete mixed voice vocal placement, you listen to all the singers that we love, the great singers, when they are singing their low notes, it is not heavy, it is actually floaty. It is floaty and light, and they can turn it heavier, they can turn it lighter. They have complete control over it because they are changing the resonance. They have all 3 resonance: head, nasal, and chest. Not only for their high notes, but for their low notes as well. Because most people will think that, oh, chest voice is just chest resonance. It's normal for our chest voice to sound dull and heavy. It is not. Listen to all the great singers. Listen carefully. Their high notes are floating, yet with control.
Trying to remember how it feels to have a heartbeat. I remember years ago, someone told me I should take caution when it comes to love. I did.
So when we're able to sing in this high placement, our voice will sound complete, and that is why I termed this as complete mixed voice placement. It doesn't sound it is either too light or it is too heavy and dull and stubborn. You have a perfect blend of both worlds. That is why it's complete, and that's the moment when you have all 3 resonances, head, chest, and nasal resonance, all coming out at the same time. And if you haven't watched my video on what is resonance and how do we use resonance in our singing, then go ahead, I'll put a cut in the cards. Go and check that out after this video. So to conclude what I'm saying here, simply when you can keep both your high notes and your low notes in this high placement, which means your chest voice, which I term it as your low mixed voice. Keep it here. Your head voice or your falsetto, if you're not singing it, you keep it here. And then when you switch between them, the contrast wouldn't be that huge. Your chest voice wouldn't sound like it's too strong and it's too heavy, and then your head voice is just too weak and too sharp and too light. There'll be a better blend. So when you transition between them when you're singing, it actually feels easier, because now you are moving your voice and moving your resonance between 2 placements which are very, very close to each other, and they are all high placement. You are not moving your voice from here to here and here to here, keeping everything at this level and nothing dropping below that level, that high placement. So when internally the switch feels smoother and more controllable, then when your audience hears you singing, they will also hear a sound that is smoother and that has more control in the voice. You can hear it clearly that for those singers that you've just watched, their chest voice is not too heavy, and yet at the same time, their head voice and falsetto, it is not too weak and light. And that allows for a smooth transition between your low mixed voice and your head voice. So if you want to learn how you can access both your high placements, the head voice placement, and more importantly, the complete mixed voice vocal placement, then follow the link in the description box below and find out how. Hey, it's JJ here, and I hope this quick video helps you out. and I'll see you in my next video.